I think something like 84% of all suicides are planned, which is a frightening. You think it's a spur of the moment thing, and most people do. It's not. It could be planned months and months in advance, which is a frightening thing, that you could be living with someone who has planned their own suicide for maybe 2, 3, 4 months, maybe 5 months in advance, you know.
So in the course then you would learn the things to look out for, where somebody, you know, they might be giving away their possessions, their mood might suddenly change because they have already decided when they're going to do it. So that's how you can identify somebody, is by family members, say, is by the change in their personality, because they've finally decided that's what they're going to do.
I'm on the board of management of Marine Watch. I was kind of one of the founder members, together with Frank Flanagan, George Lawler and the various other agencies. We've been going since 2012, and as you're aware, our aim is to prevent suicide, especially off Wexford Quay and Wexford Bridge.
Prior to the formation of Wexford Marine Watch, on average about 16 people were entering the water here in the harbour area in Wexford. And of that, the average was 4 to 5 people lost their lives, sadly, through drowning as a result. Our volunteers are spread into groups. There's usually 6 to 8 volunteers in a patrol on any given night. They can be broken into groups of 2 or 3, and we constantly monitor the bridge, and we constantly monitor the key areas. We say on average it costs about €1,200 to fully train and equip a volunteer for the purposes of the job that they do, which of course is suicide prevention patrols on the bridge and in the harbour area. But certainly the support of the community, and indeed the support of the many agencies within the community, both statutory and non-statutory, like the RNLI, like the Order of Malta, like An Garda Síochána, like the Civil Defence and like the business community, has ensured that Wexford Marine Watch has been a very solid and stable organisation since its inception.
All the volunteers have to be trained. They don't just go out walking with no training. You know, they have to be trained. They do all the different courses and retrain, and we're constantly updating our skills. So,
very important part of our training, and it's not used on patrol physically, is the paperwork here. It's 90% of it is very important. It's the teams that we have out on the night. What we actually do is the names are all wrote down. Our supervisor, the date, times, start time, end time, the time we call the Gardaí, the time we call the Coast Guard, which we do on every patrol before we start, and at the end of patrol to notify them that we are finished our patrol. How many we have out on patrol, we give them all information like that.
We are so reliant on volunteers. We've recruited about 35, so they're in, Hazel is one of the new recruits, and so we're getting them all out now. They've all done a bit of training, and they shadow. For the first couple of months they will shadow 2 experienced volunteers. And then once they get their training all up, it takes about 6 months, then they'll become fully qualified volunteers as well, once they've done all their courses. So so we'll be rolling them out shortly as well.
Now the equipment itself, we've 2 pairs of binoculars, which are very, very handy when we're on the quay side. These are very strong. If there's something going on the marine arm, if we're on the bridge, these are strong enough to look right down and give us a bird's eye view of exactly what's happening. Or if we're on the quay side and there's something happening on this side where the base is, we can get a good view of that as well, and we can make an informed decision. One of the most used on our patrols are these ones here. These are thrown to an individual if they happen to be in the water. These ones here are actually quick release. They're put each. When we have a team of 2 out on, like, you're never on your own, there's always a team of 2, 3 or 4. One volunteer will carry a throw rope, one will carry a carryable first aid pack, and a torch, which I'll go through in a few minutes. Throw ropes, 25 to 50 metres long. The rope itself floats. They do not tangle. They're very, very hard to get these to tangle. If you don't fancy carrying them around your waist, some of our volunteers like to carry them in their hand, that's fair enough as well. And if something does happen, I'm predominantly right-handed, as I show all volunteers in training, at arm's length. You stretch it out like that. You stand as if you're throwing a bowling ball, and you throw it to the casualty. hold on to that end there at all times. That deploys, and the wetter that gets, the heavier it gets, so the further he will get it. We try not to pull on the cord if there's a casualty holding onto it, because what happens with the cold in the water, it's normally around 10 degrees in the Wexford Keter at any given time. If they're any length of time, 5-10 minutes in the water, their hands will get very, very cold, and you pulling against them, you'll pull it out of their hands. So what we try to do is just hold on to the rope and reassure them, talk to them as you're going along, explain to them what you're doing. At that stage, the RNLI, course, everyone's had to been called, bells and whistles all go off, and they'll be there within 4 to 7, 8 minutes. They'll be on the water. So all we have to do is try and hold on to that casualty from going out any further out the river.
If you're on the quay, and you know you had someone say within 10-15 meters from the quayside, you could go with the throw bag. I find like you get more accuracy with these, because you can keep it down low. So obviously with the ring buoy, you're inclined to throw it that way. So if it's breezy, it's going to get caught in the wind. With this, if you can keep it down low, you can be more accurate. But I mean, there's obviously the ring buoys are there as well. We're generally always in teams of at least 3. If someone is in the water, the other team is going to be over there with you as well. So obviously they're going, we throw in as many ring buoys as is required to get the person out. And obviously, as soon as someone is near the water, one member of the team is straight on to the Coast Guard to get the RNLI in the water.
We do not leave this base at night or even on training days without wearing one of these. Safety is our main priority. These are standard size, and if you look down here, we do a check, a buddy up check, we call it every night. If that's not green coloured, it's taken off and fixed. Standard PFDs, personal flotation device. These will only ever keep one person afloat. They're clipped in the middle like that. Your crotch strap is brought around and clipped onto there. And each and every one of them are adjustable. So if you're wearing extra layers in the winter, you're that little bit bigger, you're that little bit smaller, you can adjust each and every one of them. But these are only made to keep one person afloat. If by any chance you do happen to fall into the water for one reason or another, if someone grabs onto you, and I've told all volunteers, get away from them, because they will bring you down. These will only keep one afloat. Don't think they'll keep 2 afloat. We do our buddy up check at night. The little toggles, make sure they're on the outside. Sometimes they can get stuck on the inside there, and if you do happen to go pull it, it won't work. There's tablets inside these ones. They'll pop them in and hit the water. If that doesn't work, you pull on that one there. That'll help.
I do think it's a source of relief for the people to know we're here as much as everything else. Like, and a lot of the time your gut kicks in and you go, just something a bit odd about that picture, and if it's odd, you're trained to react. That doesn't mean you have to call out, the police and the RNLI. Sometimes it's just how you doing, and then if a lot of people, as Neil was saying, respond, well, then they're fine. But some people are relieved when you ask that question, are you suicidal? They'll tell you straight, yeah, I am, or yeah, they will, and you have to ask. And some people will say, no, but I have thought about it. And some people say, no, I've just had troubles at home, yeah. And that opens up the door then. That's the key, to open up the whole conversation. And then you've saved somebody.
Every volunteer, every bit of equipment is trained to use it. So they're well capable of using it. So it doesn't really matter who wears it. And during the night, you could get people taking turns. They'll switch them around. These are very, very strong torches. They're heavy. And they're expensive. We use them to look under the bridge, over the wall where the rocks are, to spot them if there's anyone there in difficulty. And the cones on the end, these are very important when it comes to training with the RNLI. As what we do is, when the RNLI comes out into the water on the boat, what we'll do is, if we spot the casualty in the water, we'll have a team on Ferrybank side, we'll have a team on the bridge, and we'll have a team over here within a matter of minutes. And what we'll do is we'll turn on that torch. At night time, that'll shine at a 45-degree angle like that. The RNLI will come out. We'll spot the casualty in the water. The one on the bridge will point that way, the one on the quay will point that way, and the one over here will point that way. And they will triangulate. RNLI will come up the river, go to one cone, volley to the other, look at the other, and they'll pinpoint the casualty in the water by a simple method like that. Whereas before, they would have had to do zigzag, or set up squares to work off of, which would take loads and loads of time. With this, all they have to do is just follow our cones. If we lose sight of the casualty in the water, we turn off our lights straight away, because what will happen, the lads on the RNLI boat will follow our lights, but there'll be no casualties. So if we don't see them, we turn them off. We only put these up if we see them. Now these can be used in daylight as well, in summertime, because they are bright orange, so they can be used that way as well, which is very important.
If someone is passing by, or we pass by someone, and you know, we'd just say hello, how are you, is everything okay, or whatever, and you just kind of judge from their response then. Like, some people will engage. If someone just has their head down and there's no response, you know, you might be a little bit concerned, and you know, you might hang around for another while. But you know, we'll continuously keep an eye on them, you know, even from a short distance away, you know, until we're happy that, you know, that they're not in any danger.
You don't interfere with anybody's personal space either, but your training and your experience will tell you if it looks a bit odd. It's just something to be aware of. 9 times out of 10 it's not. It's just somebody, maybe there's people down here playing Pokemon, and that caused it because there were people down here at 2 o'clock in the morning with their phones, and you're wondering, my God, what are they doing? A lot of it is
apparently there was loads of Pokemon out on the arm here,
so,
like, you know.
Like, it's a bit of a laugh sometimes, you know. And then when the stores is closed at 3 o'clock, you'd see a couple of rare stuff.
3 years ago, no one knew what Marine Watch. I thought we were down watching the animals. We're looking after the seals. People asked us one night, what are you looking after the seals? Till we were up and telling them, like. But it's like the candlelit vigil we have every year, and now the lads run that as well. Like, the amount of people turn up at that every year now, because so many people touched by suicide. And it was just something that needed to be done in this town. And thanks to the likes of Frank, George, and all the lads, like, it's just been absolutely blown out of the water with the community in this town.
Yeah, everything's okay, over.
Yeah, the ring boys are all okay. We've checked all of them. Everything is fine. Over.
Yeah, Marine Watch 1 out. So we keep in radio contact with the lads. You can see the flashing light on the bridge, even from here. So that's the idea of the lights. You can see it there in the distance. See them?
You see them there? Just, yeah, I think we check in every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Every 15? Every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just so you know exactly where they are.
Yeah.
And just to make sure that everything is okay. Like, they will, like, if they're keeping an eye on, if they're concerned about someone, they will, you know, they'll be on the radio with us to let us know, look, we're monitoring someone. Because it's just, if something did happen, you know, if they give us a heads up, we can start walking up towards them. So yeah, we're there on hand if we're needed, like, you know.
Yeah. And as good as the public have been in the town and the surrounding areas, it's just, there's just that minority, there's 1 or 2 that just will not leave life rings alone. They're there for a reason. If you take one away, you're taking someone's life away. Personally, myself, I think there need to be court proceedings that need to pay through the nose for it, because if they keep getting a slap on the wrist and keep getting away with it, they'll just keep doing it. Like, the damage to life ring, last week there was another one damaged on the bridge. Like, now we can replace them. We replace them every 5 minutes if we have to, but we shouldn't have to do that. Like they're there for the public's safety. That's what we're there for as well. Like,
well, for Hazel will probably just shadow like I'm shadowing, and just pick up little bits of information. I'm sure for Hazel it's just there's probably so much information coming at her. It's slowly, but like for the big learning that you just took out tonight is just about the equipment, the procedures. I think is important to learn, you know, get your equipment right. But also just if you took one thing from it, it's just to relax, watch for anything peculiar. If it looks odd, you know, you talk to somebody, and to work as a team, and to get the workings of how we work with the other team, how we work with the RNLI. And if you took that out tonight, I think it's an awful lot, because you won't learn a whole in one night.
Since our formation, we have drastically reduced the number of people entering the water, and drastically reduced the number of people who have died by drowning in the harbour area. We
don't really fundraise. People donate an awful lot of money, and like I said, I suppose the need for Marine Watch is probably greater than ever, which is bittersweet, really, isn't it? You know, that's the way it is, unfortunately. And we've had great success. I'm after forgetting the stats now, but we haven't lost anybody.
No.
In that 4 or 5 years,
No way.
and I think that's close to 300 families, isn't it? Or 200 families? Something. It's crazy figures, like.
All in all, we've encountered about in excess of 250 incidents where people were not just intent on self-harm, but people who may have been intoxicated or under the influence of perhaps some substance and a danger to themselves. And our volunteers were there to ensure that everything was looked after and their welfare was taken care of. So of that 250 incidents, we would expect from our statistics, which we keep regularly and update regularly, we would expect that about 120 of those were people intent on self-harm. So that's a serious number when it comes to statistics, and it's a serious improvement in the situation in the context of people who were choosing to use this area as a place for self-harm.
When it started in 2012, I was the sergeant in charge at the time, and unfortunately Wexford would have had quite a few suicides off Wexford Bridge, and unfortunately if you go into the water off Wexford Bridge, chances are you're not going to be found straight away, and as a result we would have been searching for a body for 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks at a time, and it was a lot of trauma for the family. Between volunteers that have came and went and are still in the organisation, I'd be very surprised if it's not over 150 different people. And it's not just that, you just go onto our Facebook page or our website. I mean, there's massive interest in what we do, there's massive support out there in what we do. And everybody in Wexford and beyond knows what Wexford Marine Watch is, what it does and how successful it's been. So without a doubt, and the fact that, we don't care who you are or what you are, if you're prepared to give a night a month to help others, then we'll take you on board, and we'll be glad to help. And that's why I think the success of Wexford Marine Watch is because of the close connection with the community, and is because we've got so much assistance from the community. And even people that are, we haven't just held people back from committing suicide on the bridge. We've been approached, the volunteers have been approached by people who know we're there. They know we're in our yellow jackets. They've gone down looking for help, and we're referring those people then onto the other agencies like Pieta House or Summerhill Psychiatric Services or Waterford Psychiatric Service or Talk to Tom. So yeah, absolutely, it's made a massive difference to the community.
You asked the question, where we'll be in 5 years' time. I'm sure, please God, we'll have a lot more volunteers. We'll have retrained. We'll be acutely aware. Our equipment hopefully will be top notch, and that's the goal. The goal is to have a building. Yeah. Oh God, yeah. And the goal is to have services and maybe counselling, and there's a lot of visions like, and please God, we'll be around for a long, long time. I hope we are anyway. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.